Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Monday Morning Coffee, episode 18. This one is going to be very short and extremely rapid fire, given the fact that it is MLK Day and I have other stuff that I want to get done before I officially have to go back to work. But I am basically just going to go through this rapid fire. I have a few notes, but beyond that, I really don't have any great topics to divulge on, unlike last week. As always, it's Monday. I have a coffee. I am going to drink the coffee until I may or may not be finished with the coffee this time, because I'm just going to go down the list very quickly. But usually I would keep talking until I finish the coffee. But I at least have the coffee. I'm very prepared. It is the official Monday morning coffee. It's just going to be very quick. So with that all in mind, I'm just going to start going down the list. First thing is that, and this is very sad because I think in the last weekly update on LinkedIn, which I know that very few people read, I said that I would tell them how good I've been doing on Twitter in the next weekly update. Well, I've decided that I'm not doing any more weekly updates, so they will never know on LinkedIn how good my Twitter impressions are, even though they are stellar, and that is a leader point in this. I'm going to stop the weekly updates on LinkedIn because that's just what this is, right? I'm updating you right now. I just told you that I'm giving you an update, so I don't think I need to have a separate text-based stuff. And then, of course, the newsletter, which is always updates on everything, that's kind of just automated. And so for a while, I set it so that the weekly updates was like the first little blurb on there. Now I'm just going to replace that with the last episode of Monday Morning Coffee. It'll be very easy. But I don't think I'm going to do that anymore. It's kind of left off on a sad note, which is pretty remarkable because it is LinkedIn, which is like kind of useless. But at least I have. I probably won't be doing that anymore. I might come back to LinkedIn and try some, like, I don't actually know if you can do promotions or some weird hacky stuff on LinkedIn in terms of like getting your views and followers up. If there is a way to do that, I might do it just because it's fun. Because at this point, I'm kind of, after I did it for TikTok and YouTube and Twitter, I feel like LinkedIn would be the next funnest place to do it, but I actually don't know if you can, as an individual person. Hello, Lucas. I see you in the chat. This one's going to be really quick. I said that at the very, very beginning. I just want to go down the list of all my updates for this week. Another thing is for JBR. So, of course, JBR is a consulting company. It does have the courses, which are coming out still this quarter at some point. I'm trying to put those out. But I was thinking of doing more consultative ads because for a while, so if you try and make an ad on Facebook, it always tries to bug you into making it so that anybody who sees the ad can easily message you. And for a while I was like, that's kind of stupid, why would you want to do that? But then I realized, oh, it's for the freelance consulting people. That's actually exactly how JBR fits, so maybe I should try some of those. That's kind of a nothing point, but that's something that I've been thinking of. Because some of these are filler. This is a short episode, and even then, some of them are filler. Here's one that's not very filler. Last week we were talking about Twitter engagement, right? Where it seemed like I figured out the plan of like, oh, just take what I always post on Twitter anyway, but then give it like a little bit of a boost, and then it skyrockets up. Well, I tried that one more time with a different tweet. That one got even more successful. So I think that's just how that system works, which is great because that's very easy. And the best part about it is that Twitter just keeps getting cheaper and cheaper because nobody uses it. So it's now, before the floor to how much you can spend on a promotion was $30. Now it's $10. Honestly, by the end of this week, it might be $5. So that keeps getting cheaper. So Twitter actually looks like a surprisingly good place. I don't know how long Twitter's going to stay in business. I'm trying, with all those promotions in mind, there's kind of this subtext of like, I'm trying to get people on something else before and not like stay there. I am trying to increase Twitter followers a little bit. There's an ad that's going on, well, I should say a promoted tweet because it's not advertising anything. A promoted tweet that's going on right now that I'm trying to get a couple more followers just so I can be cleanly above, because I hate that this is such an not scientific rational thing, but I get really annoyed when my following slash follower ratio is out of whack, where I'm following like way more people than I have followers. That's completely meaningless and it doesn't do anything, and I'm pretty sure it also doesn't affect the Twitter algorithm, but it's just kind of annoying to see that. I like to have like a healthy large amount of followers in comparison to my following. So I did some follower ads, even though Twitter's probably going to be bankrupt in like a couple of months, just so that I could say that. But that'll probably be my last ever follower thing, and then I'll try some engagement stuff, focusing towards sending those people back to the blog. Because what I've done is, and I didn't, because this was very quick, I didn't set this up for showing my window, but how I've done it is you get the engagement tweet. So I'll say something from one of the sort of aphorism blog posts of like, hey, here's this deep thought about, who cares, whatever. And it'll get, of course, that tweet, it'll just be that quote. It'll get 1,000, 2,000 retweets. But then the first reply is me saying, here's where this is from. It's from this blog post. And I see on my analytics that those blog posts then get a ton of views. So people must go into that and click it and then read the rest of them. And then those get a bunch of views, at least. A lot of lag today. I imagine it. This is earlier than I usually do, and I think there is. I've been having some problems with the internet, like this morning, but it's perfectly fine because, like I said, this is very short, and the recording will be fine. So mostly I just need this for the recording purposes anyway, so I'm not super worried about there being any lag on the official stream. Oh, what the fuck was I talking about? Okay, I talked about that point. The next one's not important. I don't care. This one is important. So for the blog post, which is where all this sort of started, was on my blog, astukery.com/blog. I've had that on since 2018, so it's been going on for way longer than anything else I've been doing. It's also still way more popular than even this YouTube page, surprisingly. But I have that going on, and it's been going on since 2018, and ever since 2018, I said that I was going to release a post every Monday. And I am now rescinding that for the first time in how many years? 5 years? Impressive. I'm rescinding that just because it's actually easier. It's actually easier for me to release more content if there's not a Monday. Because what's the problem is that I was running into was that, because usually how you do it is that you schedule these posts way out in advance. So you'll say like, okay, if I'm going to release every Monday, let me write a bunch of articles and then schedule them for like months in advance. And that's what I've been doing for a very long time. But the only problem is that all of that sort of, they call it evergreen content, where it's just like me talking about thoughts that I have about given topics. I'm kind of out of it. Like if you wrote a blog for 5 years, you're like, I already talked about all this shit. I don't really care. So I just wrote all that within 5 years, and it's great because it's there and it'll exist forever, which is wonderful. But now a lot more of my takes are time-based, they're time-sensitive, so there's stuff that like is relevant, and even if you read it like a year later, it's still like, as long as you get the context, it's still something that's like interesting to read. But the only problem is that it's time sensitive, so you can't schedule time sensitive stuff out in advance. If something happens in January, you can't write the article about it in January and then schedule it in May. You kind of have to release the article in January. So in order so that I can just do that sort of stuff, and also because my focus is a little bit more split across a bunch of things now, I decided that the once a week stuff probably isn't as important as it used to be. And so now I'm just going to release whenever I have something ready. And what's going to happen is, well, right out of the gate, there's going to be a bunch of posts because there's a bunch of stuff that's like, I needed this out, and that's the reason I'm doing this in the first place. So I think there's like posts almost every single day this week. And then from there, you'll start to see periods of like, there's nothing, and then there's a bunch of stuff, and then there's nothing, and then there's a bunch of stuff. So that's it. I have never ever used Twitter. You're not missing anything. I just use Facebook very rarely and Discord sometimes. Am I normal for not really liking social medias? Yeah, I mean, there's not really that much that you have to get out of social media. Um, I'm trying to think if this is a good one. Like, if there is one you are missing, but I can't think about it. If it said that the video was over, it's probably because of that lag issue. It's probably the internet here is probably cutting in and out, and it freaks out the YouTube system. Is what's happening. But like I said, when I finish streaming, and there's the big record that's going to be the unlisted video, it should go on, and there should be like very little stutter in all of it. So if you're missing stuff here, or if it's like buffering, that'll all be fixed when you watch like the actual unlisted video, if you were to care about that. And I just went for archive's sake, because I like to have all these Monday morning coffees archived. Going back to your question, no. There's still going to be Monday morning coffee. No, Monday morning coffee is the one that stays. Monday morning coffee is the consistent one now. I got rid of weekly update. I got rid of the LinkedIn weekly updates, which no one read. And then the blog post is something completely separate. This isn't a blog. This is a... Oh, I guess like vlog and blog sound similar. This is not really a vlog. This is just like almost like a weird podcast thing. This thing is always going to be on Mondays. I'm not worried about the scheduling on this stuff because it's very easy. Like I said, I can just get on here and I can just start talking. It's not boring. Going back once again to the original question of social media, I don't think you need to worry about it. No, I don't think it's that important. I find it important because I am and I use this with very heavy air quotes, public figure. That's a weird thing to say, but it's actually true. And that the way that I advertise the stuff that, like my products per se, the way that I would do that is by putting myself out there, and the way that I put myself out there is through social media, right? So like if I have a book, for example, Boys and Girls, which came out, the way that I would advertise that, since I am the sole author, is by making myself a so-called public figure. But for the average person, where you just kind of have like a full-time job and you don't really care about any of that stuff, it doesn't matter. And the benefit for like a person who is just like out there and doing stuff, I don't think social media is like that important. I think the only reason and that's also why a lot of people get trapped by social media. And because another big thing is that like people, because so many people on social media are these so-called public figures, that if a private person comes onto social media, they think they have to be a public figure, even though they really don't. And honestly, I might be able to do this as a private figure, and I'm kind of, if I could get that option, I'd probably do it. Honestly, I probably would do it. But it seems like it's probably easier for me to do it this way, from everything that I've seen. So I've just been doing it this way instead. Anyway, with all that in mind, I said this one was going to be really short. We are at 13 minutes. I don't think I have anything else to talk about. I covered the fact that there's not going to be any more weekly updates on LinkedIn. I guess I have to inform the LinkedIn people about that. I don't know how sad or upset they're going to be that the weekly updates from LinkedIn are gone. These weekly updates are still going to be around, of course, obviously. There's going to be more YouTube stuff. I'm currently editing the next YouTube video, which is going to be the sorcery stuff. I know we're still playing sorcery, but since we finished part 1, I'm going to have a part 1 video that I'm looking to create and put up on here. In terms of streams, I don't know if there's going to be one this Wednesday.